One concept Gladwell discusses is the theory of thin slices, which he defines as such: the ability of our unconscious to find pattern in situations and behavior based on very narrow slices of experience. This is how we make judgments based on little information. It is an unconscious method that everyone uses. This theory was tested by a man named Samuel Gosling. Gosling began by giving a personality test to 80 college students, measuring 5 things: extroversion, agreeableness, conscientiousness, and emotional stability, and openness to new experiences. He then had close friends of these 80 students predict where their friend would fall in these categories. The 80 students' close friends were fairly accurate, having spent a lot of time learning about their friend. Gladwell calls this the thick slice. Next, Gosling asked strangers, who had never met the students, to answer the same questions, using only what they could learn from the students' dorm room. With 15 minutes, a clipboard, and a dorm room, the strangers were more accurate in measuring conscientiousness, emotional stability, and openness to new experiences. They learned a whole lot from such a thin slice. One experiment Gladwell mentioned was very interesting. It took place at the University of Iowa, where participants were placed in front of 4 decks of cards. 2 of the decks were red and 2 were blue. Each card had either an amount of money to win or an amount to lose. What the participants didn't know is that the red cards were hard to win on, with high rewards but equally high penalties. The blue cards were the better option, with high rewards and minimal costs. After conducting the experiment, researchers found that it took most participants about 50 cards to figure out what was going on. However, when each participant was hooked up to a machine that measured sweat gland activity, which can determine when a person is getting nervous, they found that each person generated such responses to the red decks by the 10th card, 40 cards before they were able to say that they had a hunch about what was wrong with those 2 decks. Even though, consciously, it took 50 cards to figure it out, their unconscious mind had figured out the pattern long before. Gladwell explains that the unconscious is thought of as a giant computer that quickly and quietly processes a lot of data we need in order to function as human beings. It's constantly picking up ideas even before we realize it. It had figured out that every time that they picked up the red card, it didn't end well. So it sent a message through sweat and nerves. In tennis, a server gets 2 chances, and if they miss both of them, it's called a double fault. One of the best tennis coaches in the world's name is Vic Braden, and when he watches a tennis match, he can predict every single time someone's going to double fault. This is because his unconscious is picking up clues and putting them together to figure it out, and he's completely unaware, because whatever goes on in your unconscious, it's behind a locked door, and you cannot access what's going on. It really bothered him, and he worked really hard to try and figure out how he could tell, but he just couldn't figure it out. Stop thinking so much. Just blink.